Welcome to the EQ Fit podcast. Our mission is to equip people to prosper in every aspect of their life. Whether you're at home or in the workplace, we explore practical ways of improving success, satisfaction, finding balance, and building enjoyable and beneficial relationships. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to start an important series that I've been meaning to do for a long time, but I want to focus in on assessments. So before you turn me off, hold on. I really want to take this slowly, but I want to keep it very practical. What can assessments do for you? What are they? You already do this every single day. When you have an important decision to make, how do you go about making that decision? Most people have a process. Somewhere in that process is information gathering. So as an example, if you were going to buy a new car, what information would you like to have before you make your decision? The make and model you're interested in, the price, the gas mileage or mileage per charge, the horsepower, the safety ratings, how reliable is the vehicle, how much retained value does it have? Maybe you have other specific information that you would like to gain on a car before you bought it, but the point is that we try to gather the best information we can before we make an important decision. There's a phrase that I use all the time. It's basically assess, don't guess. It's okay to guess on some things, but really the important things in life, the important decisions, especially if it involves other people or involves important decisions related to our lives, I would much prefer people take the time and assess to gather the insight that they need to get the right information, get good data to make a good decision. Better data equals better decisions. When it comes to making decisions about people, do we do the same thing? How about when you want to make a decision about what you need? What is your assessment process? Life is about growth. Growth is about change, or what I prefer to call transformation. But what changes make for the healthiest and most productive growth? I think that's a question we need to ask ourselves. This is where people may settle for less than the best in insights. Why is that? Probably because most people are not aware of what is available to them. And I have to say that was the way it was for me many, many years ago. When I first got out of school, I didn't know all of the different kinds of things that were available to me to assess where I was in life and what I wanted to do. But I had a leg up that most people don't have. And I'll talk to you about that a little later. Have you ever invested in something that you hoped would bring transformation in your life, only to be disappointed? I think we've all been there and done that. Why didn't that investment work? Was it something in the investment and what you invested in that didn't work for you? Maybe, but more likely, it did not fit your needs as well as it should have. So how do we identify our needs and what's going to fit for us? By taking the time to assess things. Now, let's talk about what assess is. Ask good questions. Maybe it's take an online assessment, a validated online assessment. Maybe it's ask other people. Do research. These are just a few ways we can gather better information so that we can make a better decision, which is the point. I'm one of those people that likes spontaneity and using intuition. I rely on my gut feel. It's important to me. I used to think that taking a more methodical approach to gathering information and gaining insight was a waste of time. Now, this has been many years ago, but that's the way I used to feel. I had supreme confidence that I could discern the right solution or the right approach with my internal gifts and talents. In truth, I did make some good decisions that way. But in reality, the percentage of doing that consistently was a lot lower than I realized. Choices I made just using my intuition tended to be disappointing. So enter assessments. About 40 years ago, I was introduced to a whole new world, the world of assessments. For the purpose of this focus, I want to include asking good questions, gathering data from available resources, doing interviews, which is asking good questions, and psychological assessments. Now, I tell people that my psychologist father poked and prodded us as kids with all kinds of different assessments he wanted to try out on us. And while I may poke fun at this, I'm profoundly grateful to him for introducing me to the entire world of psychological assessments. Why was I so thankful to my dad for introducing me into that new world of psychological assessments? Well, because it's foundational to the work that I do today. If you ever get up in the morning, go in and look in the mirror, why are you looking in the mirror? And I'm sure we all do this, right? We look in the mirror to see an accurate reflection of ourselves. Why is that important? So that we know what we need to do to look good, to get ready for the day. When it comes to our personal and professional development, growth, transformation, those incredibly important things in our life, basically psychological assessments become the mirror that we look into to look inside of us. And there are many different kinds of mirrors as far as psychological assessments goes, but the key to this is they all come together in a way to give us a deeper understanding of who we are and to increase our self-awareness. Now, a quick side note here that I think is important. When it comes to using psychological assessments for yourself or for other people, there are some traps to avoid. The free stuff you find on the internet is likely worth what you pay for it. Using just one assessment, like so many people do, just a personality assessment, when you just use one, it can actually do more harm than good if you don't have the guidance you need to interpret the information and limit that assessment to the appropriate uses. I see a lot of people and organizations using one assessment to make important decisions, and I highly recommend against that for many reasons. Don't let someone sell you on one assessment being the only thing that you need. It's simply not true. There are no magic bullet assessments out there, especially if you want to get the best results. I recommend you find someone who is certified in multiple types of assessments, not just personality assessments, not just one type of assessment, but in multiple types of assessments. And they only utilize highly validated assessments. This is what I do for a living, and I've seen the profound impact this can have on people. Think of it this way. Are you worth investing in? Is accurate and insightful information important to you, your growth, and achieving your life goals? If the answer to those questions is yes, then find someone like me that can be your guide in using those psychological assessments in the right way. And that side note that I wanted to share with you, I think is important because I've seen so much damage done when people don't use assessments in the right way. But when you find somebody that can be your guide through that process, it can be the opposite. It can have fantastic results. Now, we've talked about looking in the mirror. Now I want to talk about looking in the crystal ball. What if you're making decisions about other people? Maybe you're hiring people or you're leading people. Do you know what candidate best fits your needs, your culture, and your team? Do you know how to best impact the growth and development of the people that you're leading and supporting? This is a great place for assessments. The more good data and insights you can attain, the better your plans and decisions are going to be. I had a senior leader tell me recently, your assessments on candidates are like having hindsight in advance. I love that statement. It's the same information you'd learn about somebody if you worked with them for a year, but you get to see it before you hire them. Hindsight in advance. Is this a perfect predictor of a candidate's success on the job? No, of course. We're dealing with people. There is no perfection. But in my experience, using the right assessments in a pre-hire mode almost doubles the success rate as compared to the national average. And that's significant. That's a great investment when you consider the cost of turnover. You know what the latest stats say on turnover? 30 to 200% of the annual compensation for that role is the cost of turnover. So the cost of assessments compared to that is negligible. So let's talk a minute about what can assessments do for you? How can they help you? There's a lot of noise out there about assessments. I've been using them for over 35 years in my business, and I've worked with hundreds of companies and thousands of people. So I've seen the impact assessments have in many different areas. Personal development. If you want to improve your life, your success, your satisfaction, if you want to learn new skills, identify areas you want to transform, then assessments are the mirror you need to get the insights necessary to help you gain clarity, make your best decisions, and get the transformation you desire. What about professional development? Assessments can give you the insights and information needed to create the best path forward for you or for others, and the professional development that you're looking for, and the growth and the transformation. Assessments can also be used to track your progress over time, ensuring you keep yourself on track or keep others on track to meet the goals and achieve what you want to achieve. What about the workplace, the general larger workplace? Assessments are available to measure what matters in people, in leaders, in teams, and even in an entire organization. Better data leads to better decisions. The more important the decision, the more need there is to gain good information and insight. That is the strength of good assessments and a certified professional to help you understand and interpret that data. So what types of assessments should you consider? When thinking of assessments, think first about what am I trying to discover? What data do I need? What information do I need? Most people think of a type of assessment first. They kind of go about it in a different way. For example, personality assessments are the most prevalent type of assessment And there are a multitude of different kinds. The funny thing is, the vast majority are based on the same exact 4-quadrant personality model: dominance, inclusion, or what some call influence, steadiness, and compliance. So, how do you choose what is best? Talk to someone who's a professional in this area, not just a friend or acquaintance that has used one they like. Here are some different assessments that I would recommend you explore. Of course, personality assessments, something like a DISC assessment or something similar. EQ assessments, emotional intelligence. That is by far the assessment that is most predictive of success. As a matter of fact, it's 2 to 4 times more predictive of success than IQ. Cognitive and aptitude assessments measure how quickly the brain processes different things, so numbers, abstract thinking, strategic thinking, numerical thinking, problem solving. There's many, many different kinds of cognitive and aptitude measures you could look at. Hard skills. Did you know you can measure hard skills like computer skills, or basically any hard skill you can think of can probably be put into an assessment. Soft skills, that's a really important one. Interpersonal communications, thinking skills. There are so many soft skills that are so important to development, to leading people, and frankly, to the health and vitality of individuals, teams, and organizations. There are spiritual assessments out there, and that could be a part of something you want to add to what you're doing. And don't forget your personal assessment of what's going on. The way you feel about things, the way you think, feel, and act related to you assessing where you are right now, your current reality. Depending on your needs, whether it's for life or work, this is a great place to start with those different types of assessments that I've mentioned. By now, you can probably see that my focus is on a more comprehensive approach to assessments. And there's a reason for that. Back to our buying a new car scenario. Would you want to drive around in a new car that you selected based on only one choice point? Probably not. I wouldn't. And I don't care what that choice point is, whether it's price or whether it's gas mileage or color or horsepower. You're probably not going to be very happy if you're only making a decision on one set of data. The same is true for utilizing assessments. A well-designed assessment package will give you multiple insights. And it doesn't matter if we're talking about you and developing your life and your skills and how you want to grow and transform, or whether you're in the workplace and leading people, or even in the C-suite. Assessments can help all of us to hold that mirror up so we can really see what's happening inside. And that's what's important. We can see the outside with a different kind of mirror, but sometimes it's hard to get to what's on the inside. While I used to make decisions based just on intuition, I now balance that with good data that comes from a variety of assessments. And I would highly recommend everybody do that. And an assessment isn't the entirety of your decision-making process. You still need to use everything at your disposal to make your best decisions. So stay tuned for an entire series on different kinds of assessments. I think it's time. What are they? What can they do for you? How can you use them? I want to empower you and equip you with the knowledge you need to decide what mirrors do you want to hold up and look at for yourself, for your people, for your organization, for your teams. One last thought. If assessments can give you deeper insights and better information so that you can have greater confidence in your decisions and your choices, is it worth the investment? I think so. That is why this has become my life's work. Thank you for joining us for this episode. If you have any questions about this week's episode, or maybe a suggestion for future episodes you'd like us to explore, please contact us through our website at eqfit.org. For more information and inspiration, connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube at EQFit.